Well, it is none other than Nova Online, aka Gabriel Gage. Viewers are calling for this guy to be cancelled and banned. He has haters more than viewers. Nova Online is one of the most hated influencers on the internet today. Now, a lot of you might be familiar with his ugly and messy food review videos, but in case you haven't come across this face yet,
trying the most expensive gyro I've ever bought.
Nova is also famous as a loa cow of the internet world, often seen eating massive amounts of food on his social media. But it's not just about eating large amounts of food anymore, it's about putting on a disturbing show, no matter how embarrassing it gets. Nova is a control freak who can't handle the attention he gets online. His interaction with minors on Discord says a lot about his dangerous personality. Had a brief conversation with Nova's underage friend. They knew Nova for the last 3 years while they were 14 to 17. Nova is still talking to... But was Nova always like this? How was he exactly like before we all knew of him as a lol cow? Where did he start from? Let's dive into that. Nova Online's real name is Gabriel Gage. He began his career by making YouTube videos where he played video games like Fortnite. Like every other gamer and gaming enthusiast, Nova jumped into the platform without hesitation, streaming his gameplay online. Though his gaming content was arguably among the weakest out there, he stuck to the category for a while, but the views never gained enough momentum to boost his career. His outdated gaming techniques, subpar equipment, and lackluster presentation couldn't hold an audience. Before it could even take off, the whole thing came crashing down. Incomplete knowledge of gaming styles, failure to showcase updated versions, dull commentary, and many other shortcomings all played a part in Nova's downfall in the gaming scene. In the end, Nova wasn't remembered for his skills, but for how spectacularly his failure played out. All he had to do was mimic a few trendy moves, acting to some famous stuff, vlogging his life in chunks.
Hey YouTube, so I'm still testing the waters on what to post here, because let's be honest, I want to build a more respectable fan base here.
And even putting out a karaoke bash on his channel. Unfortunately, nothing really worked for him. And let's call it his bad luck, misfortune, his camera quality, his untidiness, or even, just maybe even his greasy hair. A few thousands of views took him nowhere in the YouTube world, so his subscriber count stayed limited to people who found a glimpse of his video interesting and hit the subscribe button. Later, most of them ended up unsubscribing. But then came the day Nova Online dove into the world of TikTok. Back then, and even now, it was the flashy, fast-paced hub where creators could rake in massive views with the shortest clips. With attention spans shrinking and the rise in ADHD fueling the platform's explosive viewership, TikTok was a golden opportunity Nova wasn't about to pass up. He wasted no time diving in, figuring out how the platform ticked, what trends were taking over, and why everyone seemed hooked. Naturally, he jumped on every trend, mimicking whatever was working for everyone else. Surprisingly, his very first video racked up a couple thousand views, and voila, he thought he had struck gold. First ever video where he is literally doing nothing but just moving around, and voila! It hit more than 10,000 plus views and around 50 comments. He loved the interaction that was happening on TikTok. From that point on, there was no looking back. Now, hitting a few thousand views on TikTok isn't exactly groundbreaking. Almost every other TikToker stumbles upon that kind of reach with a random video. For example, this random video which hit more than 698,000 plus views.
Hey you, yes, you watching the video. Welcome to Novine Week. Not sure what that is? Well, it is the course over a week where I post over minute-long videos to test and try out something new, because I'm sick of making under a minute-long videos because of the attention span of this app.
But something started to shift. While at first people casually scrolled past Nova's videos when they appeared on their feed, now a handful of viewers were actually stopping to drop comments. The problem? Those comments weren't praise. They were something that a creator would never want to read. They looked something like this. People writing, "Shut the f*** up. Okay, but can you clean the machines when you are done?" Or this one, "Bro, shut up!" It wasn't fame that found him first, it was mockery, and it was just the beginning. Yeah, that looks really bad for a starter. There were a few comments that lifted the engagement rate very well. Who is commenting and boosting Nova's confidence anyways? And it's none other than Nova himself. When you search and land on this account, it looks like a complete fake, almost bot-like. That's because it is. Turns out Nova wasn't just focused on creating content for his main channel. He had another full-time task: logging into fake accounts and liking or commenting on his own videos to make it look like people actually cared. It's deceptive, unethical, and depending on the platform's rules, downright illegal. This account, for example, has only one video posted, and that too of Nova. There are no other videos and no appropriate profile picture. But hey, if the real audience wasn't having fun, why not create an illusion of fans who were? That's what Nova seemed to believe. A few bots here and there, a few fake comments, and boom, instant clout. For him, it wasn't about earning attention. It was about manufacturing it. Another thing people hated about Nova other than his greasy hair, in his initial phase, was his way of eating food.
Cajun seasoned fries, mango habanero wings, Dr. Pepper, garlic parmesan tenders.
As you see, he just ate and ate and ate all the time. Devoured the food with his hair open, where he gave some very common reviews, which were so much similar to what other people were doing at that time. The reactions, the short noises while eating, the hand gestures, and even the compliments to the food were very same. Nothing extraordinary. But the comments under these videos were funny too. It read something like this: "Bro can turn the air fryer on with his eyes closed if he wanted." And here's another one questioning his efforts in these videos, saying, "Effort level given ever 1. And some other funny ones: "The unibrow is going hard, bro." The chew technique is on point. "How are you out of breath by eating?" Now, there were two major things that people noticed in all his videos. The first one is very sure the way he keeps his room. People were so mad and frustrated looking at his background in the room overall that they no longer left a comment on his way of eating. They just straightway went in the comment box and smashed him for his untidiness. Of course, nobody likes to watch a dirty room while they have come to your feed to watch your review of a food item. But it is what it is. And it is Nova, after all. Here's a video of him where he reviewed Gordon Ramsay's foods, but the way he heated them in his dirtiest microwave in the world. It made the whole video look uglier.
Gordon Ramsay's beef Wellington bites. I know it's dirty.
Hey, that isn't the right place for the legendary Gordon Ramsay's food to be heated in. And the comments under this video looked and sounded the most sarcastic ones. This one read, "What product do you use to keep the air fryer so clean?" With so many question marks and exclamation marks to emote the sarcasm so well. The comment was so cool that it ended up getting around 150 likes. And then come these ones. "That's the cleanest appliance I've seen in your house? He had to get fancy for them Gordon Ramsay bites. Ong do, I don't want to see the bathroom." And the winner of the competition is? "You should start a new series and clean my house room by room," which has around 1,500 plus likes on it. People are too funny when they are more creative than the creator himself. And the second most important thing to mention about his food review videos, money. Yes, money. To give you a quick glimpse into Nova's financial condition, he isn't someone who earns much from either YouTube or TikTok. In fact, he doesn't seem to have any other job on the side. He's just a 20-year-old adult who spends a ridiculous amount on junk food, sits inside his house, and eats it all in front of a camera. A 20-year-old earning nothing but racking up massive expenses? That's more than just concerning, it's unsustainable. For a while, his parents were footing the bill, but from what we've heard, they've finally started asking for rent. They've started telling him to get a job, like every other 20-year-old is expected to. And honestly, can you even blame them? It's not like Nova hasn't tried. He has applied for jobs everywhere from grocery stores to restaurants, pretty much every place his city has to offer. He's knocked on every door, but somehow he still hasn't landed a single stable job that could actually help him survive. The question now isn't just how long can he keep making content. It's how long can he keep pretending this is a sustainable lifestyle? Because when your clout is fake, your content is mocked, and your bank account is empty. What's really left? And whenever Nova had a job by any chance, it would turn out to be somewhat like this.
18 plus fans. So, I think I may have scored myself a new job, finally. I just had an interview today. It went super well. And so well that the manager asked for my phone number, my personal one, and yeah, I think I've got a good choice at it, y'all. This is unbelievable. After 5 months in the gutter, finally, your boy's becoming employed again. Finally.
Yeah, creepy. Very creepy. And here is Nova crying, or let's say complaining about not getting a job.
Okay, I am sick and tired of these comments showing up on every single video I post when I am actively looking for a job, but nobody wants to hire me. So, I've had it. I'm going to show you proof that I'm actually applying for jobs. First up, bakery assistant. They viewed my application, never heard back.
Isn't it very much self-explanatory to you, Nova Boy? I mean, looking at your kitchen, nobody would love to have you at a bakery in their life.
Also, cook at a Mexican restaurant. Applied. They probably hit delete on my application before they even viewed it.
It is so funny the way he is explaining why the company or the restaurants aren't hiring him. Like, bruh, go run to your house and take a look at it. It is messy, dirty, and ugly in every corner. Why would people want you if they have already watched your management skills and your videos?
Next up, line cook at a local bar. They viewed my application, yet I haven't heard back. Hotel housekeeper at a local hotel. They never viewed my application.
Housekeeping, literally. Nova's audacity to post videos with that background and then applying for the post of housekeeper is the peak of stupidity. Housekeeping in his terms is more like gatekeeping the trash. No! Nobody is allowed to touch the trash. It is going to lay there for the rest of its life till it decomposes there.
Even Taco Bell hasn't even gotten back to me yet. And as you can see, these were all applied for within the last week. So stop with the get a job comments, because I'm actively working on it.
And that is Nova's answer to everyone who trolls him for not having a job. Nobody hires me. But let's be real. Any random guy or girl can usually get a basic job at a restaurant. And if not that, at least at a local grocery store where no degree or special qualification is required. That is how most young people earn their way through life. That is how they survive, pay their bills, and save up for their dreams. There are countless creators who hustle. They work jobs they do not love, stand on their feet for hours, and still make time to create content until their passion pays off. They do not wait for a miracle. They work for it. Nova, on the other hand, has not managed to secure even one stable job. And if he ever mentioned his food review videos during an interview, maybe his excuse of "nobody hires me" would start to make a little more sense. Because the truth is, no employer wants to see a potential hire spending his days binging on junk food in front of a camera, slurring through half-baked reviews, while asking strangers on the internet to take him seriously. At some point, the question shifts from why isn't he being hired to why would anyone hire him in the first place? And here's people's reaction. Nova online as a housekeeper. People are hilarious. Well, that isn't it. It is an unending mess of laughter. Here's a TikTok video posted by Nova where he is dancing with zero expressions on his face for getting a job. Too much excitement in a frame. Funny isn't just the video or his expressionless face. The funniest thing is this comment. Imagine you've worked there for like a year and all your OG coworkers quit for whatever reason, and your boss tells you he's hiring someone new. Then Nova walks in, chills, and here are 15.6 thousand more people participating in the laughter wave. People were so shocked for him finally having a job that some of them started self-doubting. They started thinking that if a guy like Nova gets a job, then we are of similar or nearly zero caliber as Nova. Though people did not like his videos that much, people neither had an issue with him. Nobody thought of him as this harmful guy or a creator who needed to be canceled. All fun and games. Until one day, Nova started singing "Twinkle Twinkle Lil Star" for a toy and called that toy a 14-year-old girl. Yes? And it looked weird and terrifying. Basically, it looked and sounded like this.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
And people under the comment box had these reactions. This is probably one of the top 5 scariest audio recordings of all time. And some people even said that listening to this makes my skin crawl. It makes me feel so uneasy, man. How is he not in jail or prison? And a few of them literally started making other TikTok videos related to Nova.
Nova online. Here's your emotional support, Lamb. You might want to protect him from Nova too, by the way. So take him for emotional support and protection.
It wasn't similar or normal like his other videos, which sounded somewhat like this.
We'll give it a shot. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer.
Yes, it was ear-bleeding experience, but it still did not affect our mental health, unlike the Twinkle Twinkle tune. And the videos he made later turned out to be creepier and creepier. This way, the wave of Nova and his cringy content was spread all over the internet, and people started digging into everything he had done in the past. and that's where people found his creepy and weird interactions with minors. And then people started being offended with every single thing that he tried to do online. Like this guy on Reddit said, "I can't tell if he's a troll or serious," kinda because he looks the part. The videos seem so ridiculous, though, that there's almost no way it can be a troll. But I've also heard stuff about him being a PDF, so that could mean it's all for real. And here is a Sunlight Tea, sharing her early experience with Nova aka Gabriel Gage on her Twitter account, which blew everybody's mind. She writes, "Every once in a while, I remember I went to middle school with Nova, aka the Novine Universe, and let me tell you, I got some horror stories." She continues telling the story. "In middle school, Nova and I were in choir together. He and I had multiple classes together too, all the way up until high school. I didn't want to be around him. He made me uncomfortable, but everyone told me I was being dramatic. He made awkward comments towards all of the girls in our classes. Things like commenting on our bodies, rating us on looks, and talking about his crushes he had on every girl he talked to. People told me it wasn't a big deal. When I reported it, teachers told me he was autistic and couldn't control his behavior, so it never stopped. People condoned his behavior, hell, even cheered it on. One day, in choir, he sang a song in class that was explicit and dedicated it to me. He acted the same way in youth group as well. His behavior was never taken seriously. If you ask me, his relationship with the 14-year-old is partially to blame on those who refuse to do anything about it." And she concluded the story with, "If you support him, DNI with me. He put me through trauma that was disregarded by my teachers and counselors, and his behavior still affects me to this day." Now this is the real story. A story where a 12-year-old girl was mentally and emotionally by Nova. On social media, Nova acts like an immature, clueless clown, but what he does in real life is far from harmless, and honestly, it is terrifying. A girl named Cece came forward and shared her story online. She spoke about the mental trauma she endured, the discomfort, and the way Nova made her feel unsafe at such a young age. For someone like her to step up, knowing Nova already has a following and internet fame, takes incredible courage. The journey from being silently creeped out to publicly calling him out is not an easy one. It takes strength. It takes clarity. And most of all, it takes the kind of bravery that deserves to be heard and respected. Because when the mask of internet humor slips, what is left behind can be disturbing. And Sissy's story is a living proof of that. There are also proofs of people claiming that Nova is struggling through some massive mental health issues, where he thinks of himself as a kid and asks people to change his diapers. Like this.
"I'm very excited for my next session. He's gonna change my diaper."
But there are also, on the other hand, people who are blaming Nova for having inappropriate interactions with minors on Discords, claiming that he is a borderline pedophile himself.
"I thought Nova Online was just a harmless lolcow that got made fun of because of his wacky antics on the internet. I was so wrong. I dived into a little bit of his history and went deeper down his rabbit hole, and this dude is a borderline and
So yes, what do you think he is? A pedophile or a mentally ill person who thinks of him as a child? Well, either way, nothing sounds really good for the ears. First of all, he is a creator. And the number of views that he has been getting recently is in the millions. If we specifically check for a number on his TikTok page, it literally says 10 million likes, which honestly is huge. He has got some 279.8 thousand followers on the page where he eats, flirts, and shows off his dirty house in the background. Oh wait, a page where he has bluntly written in his bio, "Do not DM," in big bold letters. So let me get this straight. You are saying you are jobless, unemployed, have no work, and are desperately looking for opportunities. You also claim that you have been applying to every possible place, showing up for interviews, and still ending up with nothing. Not even one placement, not a single job. Here is why. If you are writing "do not DM" in your bio, how is anyone supposed to approach you? There's absolutely no chance for collaborations, partnerships, paid promotions, or brand deals, which only proves one thing: you have zero understanding of how to build a personal brand, let alone a career. Instead, all you care about is lying on your bed with a bag of junk food, filming yourself eat, and then whining about not getting work. It is absurd. Completely absurd. There are people out there struggling to make ends meet, trying to help their families, paying their bills, and fighting to survive. And then there is Nova, shamelessly doing the bare minimum, raking in millions of views, and still playing the victim. And to make things worse, there are people in his comment section defending him, saying, "Why is everyone mad at him? He is just doing his work. Everyone needs to chill and have fun. It does not work like that. A person who is truly passionate about their work takes ownership. They take responsibility and hold themselves accountable for the content they put out. When you're getting millions of eyeballs on you, you are no longer just another user on the internet. You have a responsibility. You owe it to your audience to make thoughtful and sensible decisions. But then again, it is Nova we are talking about. He calls himself an influencer, but is he really one? Because if he is not influencing the next generation. He is damaging it. He is not a content creator. He is a cautionary tale. There are people on Reddit who found out Nova asking the caregivers to change his diapers on the platform, which leaves everyone scared and creeped out. And yet, another one leaving you with goosebumps. A creepy post on Reddit reads, "I don't want to stop regressing. Does anyone have any tips to maybe trigger myself back into regressing often?" To which Nova has responded with, "Just remember, you are never too old for any kid stuff." Now here's a Reddit post which says a lot. This outfit is weirder than all his YouTube and TikTok channels combined. Here we can literally see Nova having the time of his life, FaceTiming someone in that bizarre outfit. These pictures give off a vibe that makes it look like he is role-playing as someone's mother. Out of all the fantasies out there, this one really crosses a line. It is not just odd, it is deeply uncomfortable and disturbing. And the worst part? He is not even trying to be discreet about it. He is proudly putting it out for the world to see, as if this is normal, as if this is content. And here's another picture of Nova doing more weirdo stuff. This picture, god damn it is genuinely scary. Imagine following someone for what you think is lighthearted or funny content, and then stumbling across this on a different platform. Suddenly you start questioning your own taste. You would unfollow him in an instant, and even worse, you would feel nothing but discomfort when he randomly appears on your feed again. Just imagine that. It feels like a bait and switch. You sign up for comedy, and instead, you get this mess of bizarre fantasies and disturbing behaviors shoved in your face. Here, Novine Universe has posted a picture with the caption, "Had to show my melatonin patch too to show you I put it on like a good baby." Like a good baby? Really? Who are you even trying to be? A fully grown adult with absolutely no desire to improve your life, your career, or even contribute anything meaningful to your parents. Just lying there in a dirty room with that filthy face, and doing nothing but posting creepy, uncomfortable content on social media. And to top it off, begging people to change your diaper? This is not quirky. This is not edgy. This is just plain disturbing. And here's a screenshot of Nova's post that reads, "The patsy started to make my mouth sore." There's a point where it stops being shocking and just starts becoming sad. And this one is a screenshot of his chat with someone who clearly shares a similar mindset. The messages read, "Will you be mad if my mouth tape or cute sleepy patch falls off in my sleep?" To which the person replies, "I won't, I promise, unless you take it off yourself." Then Nova says, "I want to be a good baby, so I will leave them on. I don't want to be punished." The person doesn't respond, but Nova, clearly restless, types again, "Are you still awake?" And baby can't sleep. Here, ladies and gentlemen, our dear Nova is referring to himself as a baby. A baby. Let that sink in. It is not just cringeworthy, it is disturbing on so many levels. Some might brush this off as a fantasy. Others might see it as a mental health issue. And this behavior could be rooted in past trauma, or a childhood that lacked love and attention. But when that unresolved trauma turns into content, when that private dysfunction becomes public identity, there is a serious problem. This is not just a matter of taste. This is about accountability. Because when thousands of people are watching, you do not get to hide behind the excuse of just being yourself. You are influencing people, especially the young ones. And what you put out there has consequences. What exactly is going on here? Let's dive deeper and uncover what this all really says about Nova and about the kind of content we have started normalizing. And the comments under this post read, "I am physically repulsed." Just so repulsive. What the So we can clearly see people are disgusted, and people are so repulsive that they don't even want to talk about it or elaborate on it. They just say they don't want to see Nova's face again. And here's baby Nova's collection of the mouth tapes. This post's caption says, "I knew he was hiding something. He gets over baby pacifiers and children. Someone lock him up." Here's another Reddit post where we can hear Nova talking to his mother about his uncle, and how terrified he is of him. In the audio, Nova says his uncle is calling him a and blaming him for leaking his phone number on TikTok. Nova insists he hasn't done it, but he sounds genuinely scared. He tells his mother that he is shaking with fear, that he feels sick to his stomach, and that he does not know how to deal with the situation.
Andy just texted me again. Yes. His phone number got leaked, and now he's blaming. I'm shaking. He's gonna get me to do. I'm scared.
While his mother tries to calm him down and reason with him, Nova keeps repeating that he is terrified. He uses words like scared and describes himself as physically trembling. If we connect this moment to what we have seen of Nova in the past, the way he behaves like a baby online, and how in some of his chats he had asked someone if they would be mad at him for taking off his mouth tape in his sleep, this could be rooted in something much deeper. What if this isn't just a performance? What if this is unresolved trauma? It is entirely possible that this fear of punishment, this childlike helplessness, stems from something that happened during his childhood. Perhaps his uncle did more than just yell. Perhaps those fears were planted long ago. Maybe it is all a build-up in his head. But maybe, just maybe, these scenes we see today, the fantasy roleplay, the anxiety, the regression, are connected to very real and very dark memories from his past. And if that is the case, it does not excuse his current actions, but it might explain where they come from. So the question becomes, is Nova simply craving attention, or is he crying out for help in the only way he knows how? Yet another video of him being scared and crying a lot after he gets to know that someone has shared some of his video to his uncle. He is so pissed off and raging with anger, he ends up telling people not to do so.
To whoever the F sent that video to my uncle, you should be ashamed of yourself. I literally just got through a mental breakdown, bawling my eyes out because of you. I hate to post this, but this needs to be addressed. To whoever sent that, F you! To all the real fans, I love you so much with all my heart. Jesus loves you too. But to the one that sent my uncle that video, you've got a problem. And we need to talk.
While some people still choose to give him the benefit of the doubt, his behavior both in his content and online presence has become too unsettling to ignore. What once seemed like harmless, quirky posts have now evolved into something far more disturbing. People have slowly started viewing Nova through a more serious and concerned lens. His content journey began with gaming on YouTube, but when that didn't take off, he quickly shifted to TikTok. From the beginning, Nova always had a sense of what could sell. He was hyper-aware of what worked on the internet and what didn't. He knew he wasn't performing well in the gaming world. The YouTube space was already saturated with talented creators who had built massive followings through their skills, strategies, and consistency. Kids his age had already mastered the streaming game, but not Nova. He was still far behind and lagging a lot. His TikTok journey, however, started with a spark. His first few videos earned a few thousand views. It looked promising, but staying relevant proved to be harder than it seemed. Nova desperately tried to follow every trend, whether it was dancing to viral songs, mimicking fashion styles, copying popular slang, or simply mimicking what everyone else was doing. But even then, something was always off. His content felt forced. His presence felt out of place. People began trolling him not just for his awkwardness or cringe-worthy videos, but for how he looked, how he acted, how he carried himself. He was soon labeled a lolcow, a public figure people mock for laughs. And yet, Nova never fired back. He took the criticism, accepted the trolling, and claimed he wanted to work on himself. He made it clear that he was going to do something about it. But here's the thing, he never actually did. He portrayed the image of someone trying to improve. But in reality, there was no progress. It was all for show. Take exercise, for example. Viewers called him lazy. Some even referred to him as a couch potato. Many recommended he hit the gym and start taking his health seriously. Nova listened. He even posted content suggesting he had started working out. But what it turned into was something like this. And people are falling with laughter. They're calling it a hilarious workout. Because honestly, Nova here is barely doing anything to be called a workout session. His expressions just scream his lack of interest in the gym and the environment there. Looks like he is doing it just for the sake of getting a few more views and comments. And this is people's reactions in the comment box. 10 reps of goofing around, and That is literally the worst way to work out your lats. Of course, he doesn't give a damn about the workout. He just cares to be recorded in his camera, and that is it. Here's another video where Nova gets scolded for talking in a high tone at the gym.
Decreasing 100 pounds. Excuse me? Could you clean up your language, please?
So his behavior at the gym is also very inappropriate. This shows the overall behavior and personality of Nova, which is filled with anxiety and insecurity. Insecurity regarding his body, his content, his choices, and overall his life. This takes us back to where it started from. His attraction towards children and being a child. The delusional world where he loves to live for his life. The issue is so big that people have started creating videos that resonate with this whole Nova and minors situation.
Oh. Am I attracted to this? No. Am I? No.
There are people who have done a full research on how Nova Online is following some random 14-year-olds on the social media pages and is having chats with them.
Nova Online following a random 14-year-old artist, plus some of Nova's Roblox medals.
Though these videos are funny and give you a good minute of laughter, the issue is very serious and to be investigated properly by the police. There are people saying that it is the trolls who are doing it, but here's Nova coming out in anger and firing it in this video.
I'm never making another Discord server again. This is the fourth. My life, everything. I'm done.
Here's another video of him where he is telling people that TikTok banned his stream. And that was the time Nova didn't know what to do. TikTok banned his stream for harassment and bullying. And that sounds like a step towards a better future. Coming back to his disturbing attraction towards diapers, here is another video where Nova's mother can be seen scolding him over the same.
What? The are they sending my mom?
This was all recorded during one of Nova's live streams. For many people, this clip removed all confusion about whether Nova was genuinely into this kind of stuff or just trolling. The video gave clear insight into his choices and behavior. In the video, his mother is clearly heard shouting at him for ordering diapers, for wearing them, and for making a public mockery of himself online. Her tone reflects frustration and disbelief, but also a shocking level of detachment. And honestly, this is where we need to look at the bigger picture. Nova's mother, as a responsible parent, should have had a much tighter grip on what her son was doing, especially when he's actively influencing others online with extremely questionable behavior. His bizarre content isn't just cringeworthy, it's also a bad influence. And the fact that he's been caught interacting with minors on platforms like Discord raises even more red flags. This isn't just about one person's fantasies anymore. This is also about bad parenting. Turning a blind eye to your child's online presence, especially when that child is spiraling into unsafe and inappropriate behavior, is not just negligent, it's dangerous. Parents should be the first line of awareness and accountability. In the Nova's case, that line appears to be broken. Also, his language while talking to his mother is extremely bad. It is inappropriate and unacceptable. Nova's Facebook account was discovered following a page tied to an online age regression community, often described as caregivers and littles. This subculture involves adults who adopt childlike roles or behaviors in certain relationships, where one person takes on a caregiver dynamic and the other leans into a younger persona. While it has its own niche following, it's widely regarded as controversial because of the way it blurs emotional and role-playing boundaries. This is not just niche internet behavior. It's deeply concerning when combined with Nova's history and pattern of interactions, especially involving minors. Being attracted to such communities while having a track record of disturbing behavior raises serious red flags. One of the YouTube creators who has been meticulously tracking Nova's online activity is Smokey MCC. Alongside Kiwi Tapes, Smokey has documented Nova's patterns, red flags, and questionable moves on their respective channels. They've even hosted live discussions dissecting Nova's behavior and impact. Nova, unsurprisingly, didn't take this well. He lashed out during one of the streams with the message, "Screw you, Smokey," visibly agitated by the exposure. He also slipped into the live chat, where viewers were mocking him and angrily responded with things like, "Piss off." This defensive and hostile behavior only further confirms his inability to take responsibility. Instead of reflecting or explaining himself, he's lashing out at people, calling out his disturbing actions that are no longer a private fantasies but part of a very public and problematic pattern. Nova had also sent an email to Smokey in regards to the Facebook discovery. He wrote, "You're asking for a lawsuit, Smokey. I don't even check FB that often, and I log on like once every 6 months. So why don't you duck off and stop pulling shit out of your ducking ass?" Everything that Nova is up to these days is shady, creepy, and scary. For example, there's a video where Nova was literally playing with knives. Now, if any other person did that, people might have brushed it off as a joke or edgy content. But when it comes to Nova online, the context shifts drastically. It's no longer just a quirky act, it becomes a possible red flag. His image is already so deeply associated with uncomfortable, questionable behavior that even the smallest actions are now viewed through a lens of suspicion. People can't trust him blindly. In fact, they can't even trust him with open eyes. And that's the core problem with Nova's content and him as a creator. He has lost the benefit of the doubt. The way people consume social media content today is intense and deeply personal. Someone finds a video of yours while scrolling, gets intrigued, and then dives headfirst into your digital world. They binge watch your videos, explore your stories, and scroll through every post and comment. Slowly, they begin to feel like they know you. They grow curious about your lifestyle, your morning routine, your night rituals, the food you eat, where you shop, how you speak, and how you live. You stop being just a creator, you become a character in their daily lives. But it doesn't stop there. People want to know your stance on everything, whether it's pop culture, social justice, politics, or personal values. And even when you try to stay neutral, silence speaks volumes. Audiences expect creators to reflect, to analyze, and to influence. And if you're not aware of that power, you can very quickly go from being loved to being loathed. That's the fundamental difference between traditional celebrities and modern-day influencers. Movie stars are surrounded by layers, agents, managers, and PR handlers. But influencers? They're raw, unfiltered, and accessible. Their content is real-time. Their stories go out every hour, their thoughts are tweeted instantly, and that constant accessibility makes them constantly accountable. There is no hiding. So when someone like Nova displays irresponsible, erratic, or disturbing behavior, it doesn't take long for the public to notice, dissect, and react. People once laughed at him, called him a lolco, mocked his looks and mannerisms. But now the tone has changed. Now he's being labeled a potential threat, a danger. But if we look past the memes and the mockery, there's something even more concerning beneath the surface. Nova is clearly someone who is mentally unwell. His content, his hygiene, his body language, and the way he speaks. Everything suggests that this is someone crying for help in the loudest, most uncomfortable way possible. What's even worse is that he's doing all of this while being heavily active on platforms filled with young, impressionable users. Instead of getting therapy, support, or structure, he's getting attention that might be enabling his delusions or worsening his state. And this isn't just about Nova anymore, it's about the larger problem of digital neglect, where people with serious mental and emotional issues are being pushed further into the spotlight for clicks, likes, and engagement instead of being pulled out and helped. Nova is not just a cautionary tale about content creation gone wrong. He's a case study on what happens when internet fame meets unresolved trauma and unchecked behavior. If no one steps in, whether it's his family and the platforms he's on or professionals, this is only going to escalate. And by the time it all explodes, it might be too late. People have already started taking the matter to bigger platforms. While some influencers are dangerous to others, there are also creators who are victims of truly horrifying abuse, and their stories deserve just as much attention. One such case is that of Lo the Goat, whose situation on social media shook people to their core. Her truth wasn't just disturbing, it was unthinkable. The internet stood still when she revealed that her own father wanted to marry her. It was one of the most bizarre and heartbreaking revelations to ever surface online. Lotha bravely came forward with her childhood trauma, and from that moment, the world couldn't look away. People were consumed by her story, not out of mere curiosity, but because it exposed one of the darkest truths that still plague society. Abuse within families, and more disturbingly from a parent. Her father, the man who should have protected her. instead became the source of her deepest trauma. He betrayed her trust, subjecting her to years of emotional damage and control. At one point, he even shaved her head and exposed her to substances, further tightening his grip on her life. And years later, long after she had built a relationship of her own, he resurfaced with the disturbing intention of forcing himself back into her world under the guise of marriage. Yes, it sounds like something out of a nightmare, but unfortunately, this is a reality that too many girls and women live with every day. Lothe's story is not an isolated incident. It is a horrifying example of how predators can exist within families, disguised as guardians, manipulating their victims under the illusion of love. What makes it even worse is the psychological war victims like Lothe are forced to endure. Imagine trying to build a life, a career, a relationship, while carrying a past that keeps dragging you back into trauma. Sharing that pain publicly is not just brave, it's necessary. It sheds light on the silent epidemic of familial, and it holds up a mirror to the systems and societies that allow such horrors to remain hidden. Lothe's courage to speak out is a reminder that social media is more than just filters and trends. It's also a powerful platform for truth, justice, and healing. Her voice, raw and unfiltered, has inspired thousands to come forward with their own stories, to seek help, and to know they are not alone. Because the more we talk about these things, the more predators of their power, and that is the beginning of change. And the fear of Nova becoming the one like her father when he grows up will be again a traumatic story for a lot of young girls to tell about Nova. Let's not make that happen by following people like Nova at first. And if we really are concerned, we should definitely report such people and ask the authorities to investigate and take legal actions. Also, the medical help could also bring a big change. Let's hop on the cameos now. People were also not happy with Nova's cameos, and things got even worse when he started questioning those who gave his cameos a 1-star rating. Here's one of the videos that really blew up.
What's going on, Allie? It's Nova Kadri, and I wanted to wish you a very happy 18th birthday, and I hope you have had her having an amazing one so far. Also, I heard you like Leslie and Sophia. A little thing about them, they're both and it's been proven, so yeah, maybe don't interact with their content, just a little FYI. But hey, anyways, thank you for being a fan despite everything I'm going through in life. It truly means a lot, and I do appreciate it.
A man who has allegedly spent years hiding behind Discord servers, teasing, manipulating, and exploiting vulnerable teens, both in school and online, now wants to present himself as some kind of protector. It's not just ironic, it's disturbing. Someone who has repeatedly been accused of crossing boundaries with young girls is out here warning others against so-called predators. It's like the pot calling the kettle black, but far darker and more dangerous. He should honestly consider trading a few kilos for some functioning brain cells, because right now, his behavior is screaming denial and deflection. Well, let's see what people had to say about this. The comments under this video speak volumes. Raw, real, and brutally honest reactions from viewers who are tired of his manipulative antics. The very first comment over here reads, "Lamau the way Nova stares off into space as he talks about them," almost as if he knows people are going to bring up what he's done, but he won't restart the video because he loves attention. Like, really? People are not stupid. They have eyes and ears. They can see what you are doing. Max ridiculousness, to be honest. There are several celebrities out there who've become the internet's laughingstock for their chaotic and desperate cameos, and Nikki Blonsky is definitely one of them. Known primarily for her role in the movie Hairspray, Nikki has spent more time in the headlines for controversies than for any actual work. From a supermodel mid-flight to physically fighting at the airport with her own family, Blonsky's name has been dragged all over social media for all the wrong reasons. Things got so out of hand that the supermodel's mother ended up with a facial fracture and had to be airlifted from the airport. And as expected, the industry slowly shut its doors on her. Work dried up, roles stopped coming in, and when nothing else worked, she turned to cameos. But even then, her chaos followed her. She began sending out bizarre videos, singing songs from Hairspray to random people who hadn't even asked for it. She was seen sliding into DMs, clinging to the only thing she had left: attention. In one of her infamous cameos, she literally sang while sitting on the toilet. If that doesn't scream desperation, what does? It was pure narcissism masked as fan service, a sad reflection of someone terrified of becoming irrelevant in a crowd full of actually deserving talent. And honestly, Nova Online isn't much different. After all the mess he caused behind the scenes, he too took shelter in cameos. But just like Blonsky, he failed to impress. People openly begged him to stop. The response was so bad that users left him with just 1-star ratings across the platform. That's not hate. That's rejection disguised as feedback. Cameos, in essence, is a platform meant to bring influencers, celebrities, and their audiences closer. It's supposed to be a space for genuine interaction and connection. But unfortunately, people like Nikki and Nova have turned it into yet another stage for their self-obsessed performances. Instead of building meaningful connections, they're out there embarrassing themselves for attention they no longer deserve. Here's Nova on Online sharing another cameo to his audience.
Hey Cameron, get off Siege. Go celebrate your birthday today, and maybe take a shower. 100 days without a shower is wild. And please use deodorant. And congrats on the engagement with Isaiah, and I'm wishing you both a magical My Little Pony wedding and a happy life. Thank you for being fans, but please take a shower. Nova Universe, I'm signing off.
Please take a shower? Oh, the irony. Look who's talking. How does Nova even come up with such so-called words of wisdom in his cameos, especially when they directly contradict his own behavior and lifestyle? It's laughable. Preaching things he doesn't practice is not just hypocritical, it's downright unfair to the people who actually pay for these videos. He might think it's working, but the reality lies in the comments section, where people are literally laughing at him. These well wishes and random advice clips have become a joke, because they're coming from someone who barely lives up to any of it. First it was the pedophile allegations, and now it's the shower lectures. Incredible. The audacity is truly unmatched. Trevor in his comment box says, "Little hypocritical, not going to lie." And this comment, my friends, is liked by 11.2 thousand plus people. So those many people think that Nova should actually really stop and watch himself out now, because frankly, it's the time now. And then there is this cameo where he is wishing a very happy Father's Day to his fan's father.
Hey Mike, it's Nova Kadri, and first off, I just wanted to wish you a very happy Father's Day. I wanted to know that your kids appreciate you for everything that you do, and I hope you have had or having an amazing Father's Day so far.
The audacity to wish a Father's Day while you are using the emotions of the minors on the internet is crazy and going out of hands. And this is what his audience had to say about this cameo. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. It is echoing in our ears since we listened to his wish, isn't it? And if you know, you know now. Nova isn't all baby all the time, by the way. This not-so-little man child has got a lot of anger issues.
God damn it!
What's even more shocking is how Nova so bluntly bursts out during his live videos. No filter, no sense of decency, just raw aggression. His behavior constantly leaves viewers stunned. He casually throws curse words around like they're part of normal speech, and what's worse, he does it in front of his own mother. That says a lot. Sure, some may point fingers at parenting, but let's be real. Nova isn't a child anymore, he's an adult. And adults should be held accountable for the things they say and do, especially when the camera is rolling. There's a level of responsibility that comes with having a platform. Nova refuses to carry that weight. He acts out on camera, throws tantrums, says deeply problematic things, and laughs it all off. But what he doesn't see, or maybe chooses to ignore, is the kind of influence he's leaving behind. There are kids watching him. Kids who look up to social media figures like him because they don't know better. And when someone with a huge following says things that are inappropriate or aggressive, it doesn't just stay on the screen. It trickles down. Kids mimic that behavior. They begin thinking it's cool or funny, or that it's okay to speak that way. That being rude, careless, or toxic is some kind of personality trait. Today's kids are practically raised on screens. They wake up to YouTube, scroll through TikTok during lunch, and fall asleep watching Instagram lives. Their devices are more than entertainment. They're lifelines. So naturally, the people they follow begin shaping their identities. The biggest issue? They can't always tell what's right and what's wrong. Their brains are still developing. They're emotionally impulsive and highly impressionable. They might not understand that the person they're watching is problematic. What they see is someone confident, bold, and unapologetic. And in their young minds, that's something to admire. From the way they start talking to how they behave in school or at home, it all adds up. Verbal disrespect, lack of empathy, these things are learned silently through the screen. And that's how they slowly get trapped in a toxic loop. The worst part? They won't even realize it until it's too late. But hey, let's not generalize. Not all influencers are toxic. There are many creators out there doing real, meaningful work. Influencers promote body positivity, teaching us that every shape and size deserves love and respect. People breaking barriers of color, gender, religion, and caste. Mental health advocates, sharing their personal stories about anxiety, depression, trauma, and healing. Many even provide free mental health check-ins, talk therapy, and links to professional help. Creators encourage self-growth, discipline, and business building, who motivate their followers to read, learn, grow, and create something of their own. These people are gems in the digital world, but sadly they're often overshadowed by loud, chaotic personalities who do anything for views. Social media is a vast ocean. It has waves of good and storms of bad. And you are the fisherman. You have the power to decide what you catch and what you throw back, what you let inside your mind, and what you keep far away from your family. But when it comes to children, they don't always get that choice. Their minds are still learning, their hearts are still soft, and their eyes are still wide open to everything they see. So here's what you can do. 1. Stay aware. Know what your child is watching. Talk to them about what they see online. Be open, be honest, and most importantly, be present. Don't let social media become the only voice in their life. 2. Report the toxic influencers. If you see someone misusing their platform, spreading hate, or setting a bad example, report it, block it, call it out. Because sometimes silence is also part of the problem. This isn't just about Nova. This is about every content creator who forgets that behind every screen is a person, and often a very young one. The internet should be a place of learning, inspiration, and creativity, not a circus of chaos and toxicity. Coming back to Nova's online presence and so-called earnings, well, to put it bluntly, he earns practically nothing from it. Being an influencer today isn't just about showing up on camera and rambling nonsense. It's a full-time job that demands proper understanding of algorithms, audience relatability, demographics, and performance analytics. A true content creator studies their audience, watches trends, adapts quickly, and consistently delivers what their viewers crave. These days, the most consumed form of content is infotainment, a perfect blend of entertainment and information. People want to learn something, but they also want to be engaged, emotionally invested, or at least entertained while doing it. And if you're only entertaining, it better be impactful enough to leave a lasting message. Viewers today have higher expectations, shorter attention spans, and zero tolerance for low-effort, mindless uploads. Content creation is no longer a casual hobby. It's a science, a craft, and a competitive field. And it doesn't end at making videos. There's brand building, personal PR, strategic collaborations, paid campaigns, merchandising, and cross-platform engagement. This is how most creators earn their bread. But when it comes to Nova, he never even gave it a real shot. Instead of creating something meaningful, he went down the easiest route: food reviews. He grabbed anything and everything available in the market and filmed himself stuffing it down, often in the worst possible settings with zero presentation, bad lighting, annoying sound effects, and frankly, a nauseating attitude. One of his earliest reviews started with Taco Bell, and from there, it spiraled into a series of poorly filmed, widely hated food videos. The internet made it clear they were not buying what he was serving. There was absolutely no sense of content strategy or financial planning, just chaos in front of a camera. Later, in a desperate attempt to monetize his fame, Nova tried selling random items like bracelets and water bottles on his platform. And while it might sound like a baby step toward building a brand, it wasn't. These weren't paid collaborations, nor were they sponsored campaigns. The truth is, no brand wanted to associate with him. Why would they? Nova Online had already earned himself a reputation as one of the most hated figures on the internet. In the world of digital marketing, reputation is everything. Even brands offering free PR goodies didn't consider sending products his way. They knew it wouldn't be worth the exposure. He had no influence, no credibility, and no engagement. Just noise. And let's be honest. What do bracelets and water bottles even fetch you? A few bucks, if anything? You can't even afford a one-time meal with that kind of return. Especially not the kind of meals Nova loves, to flex in his now cringeworthy content. It's a clear case of trying to run a business with no business sense. To make things worse, the controversies surrounding him, especially the ones involving inappropriate interactions with minors, were not just a personal downfall. They were also used, whether intentionally or not, as publicity stunts in the hopes of grabbing attention. But instead of helping, they backfired massively. The internet remembers, and it does not forgive easily. So while Nova may have tried to dip his toes into e-commerce and content monetization, The truth is, none of it ever took off. Why? Because you can't build a career on controversy, chaos, and carelessness. Let's now take a look at how those brilliant product launches actually went down.
Tori placed a Nova Cord paracord order. Let's ship it out. You ordered 2 bracelets, two-tone bracelets. You ordered a blue and beige, which honestly, I really like this one. And you also ordered a hot pink and beige. This one is definitely the best looking one.
And that is exactly why no big brand ever hands over their products to Nova for promotions. His entire brand collaboration portfolio consists of just some cheap bracelets and water bottles, and even those seem like last-minute clearance items rather than actual merchandise. There's nothing wrong with what he's trying to sell, but how he's selling it? Now that's the real issue. The presentation's just sickening. Not in the modern slang way. It's genuinely off-putting. From poorly edited promotional clips to awkward, unprofessional photos, nothing about it screams "buy me." In fact, it screams the opposite. Avoid me. What's even funnier, he was so serious about this little venture that he went ahead and printed business cards for it. Business cards for plastic water bottles and some friendship-style bracelets? Honestly, it's hilarious. Like trying to sell lemonade on a deserted street and still printing a full billboard for it. There's a difference between ambition and delusion. And unfortunately, Nova seems to be operating deep in the second zone. No strategic branding, no visual appeal, no call to action. Just cringe-worthy self-promotion that looks like it belongs in a high school group project gone wrong. Let's face it, nobody's ordering those products and nobody's liking those videos. The audience isn't dumb. They can see right through the desperation. If you can't package your product in a way that connects with people, entertains them, or at least looks professional, it's not going to work. And in Nova's case, nothing about it ever looked remotely like a real business. But how could Nova even focus on his career? He had stuff for some nonsense things, like interest in minors. Making them feel insecure and awkward was and is his hobby. Here's a video of a few people and their opinions about Nova online.
I am losing my mind over Nova online. Who in the is this person? Also, if you don't know who Pamper Chew is, please go look him up. It definitely reflects it. So this degenerate got brought to my attention because my For You page decided to show me that this is like his 3rd or 4th Discord server that's got shut down for talking to minors. But it's not just talking to minors. The twinkle twinkle little star video and all that, I feel weird wearing a star nose ring now. I genuinely do not understand what brings a person to this level of depravity.
And the caption to this video says, "Diapers are for babies, and prison is for you, Nova." And this one will leave you with chills.
How old are you?
I'm 4 years old.
You are the youngest person ever. You are the youngest person ever.
And this one will leave you in laughter.
Why is Nova following me on his second account? He's only following 2 people on that account. His main account and me. I have so many questions here that are not going to get answered. All I'm going to say is, Nova, I'm not going to date you. It's not you, it's me. I have standards. Although I love men with long hair, I also like men that shower every day.
So this girl in the video is saying that Nova follows her from a separate account. An account where he follows absolutely no one else but her. In any other situation, any girl would probably feel incredibly special. I mean, imagine a guy creating an account just to follow you and talk to you. That's the kind of thing that, on paper, feels like a sweet gesture, something that might even make someone blush a little. But, and this is a big... We're not talking about just anyone. We're talking about Nova. And when he does something like that, it's not romantic, it's creepy, it's calculated, it's uncomfortable. Thankfully, the girl in the video didn't fall for it. In fact, she clapped back. And how? She gave him a solid reality check. Left, right, and center. She didn't hold back at all. She even went ahead and called him a man-child, which, let's be honest, is painfully accurate. Even grown men watching would probably nod in agreement. Because let's face it, no girl wants to date, talk to, or even be associated with someone who has such questionable standards, twisted fantasies, and zero moral compass. At the very least, what people expect from a grown adult is some basic hygiene. A one-time shower. That's it. That's the bar. But Nova can't even meet that. Instead of taking a bath, he seems far too busy taking minors on emotional roller coasters and leaving behind a trail of trauma. It's not just disappointing, It's deeply disturbing. Here's another video of a girl explaining what happened with her when she used to study with Nova at the same school long back.
I went to middle school with him. I was in the select choir. It was an all-girls choir. You had to audition for it. It was only for the 8th graders. And he was not happy that he wasn't in it. So he made his own choir outside of school and invited a whole bunch of girls that were in the select choir and the regular, like, extracurricular choir. He invited a whole bunch of us over to his house. And he was very, very mad at me for not going. So I was there in class, and he comes up and he asks, like, 5 or 6 of us to go up to the front of the class with him, and we're like, okay. This dude proceeds to sing Love Me Like You Do by Elle Goulding and basically Magic Mike, like, lap dance that. And our teacher had to stop it because we were all uncomfortable. We all were just sitting there like...
Did she just say that Nova asked 4 girls to come ahead in the class and he sang a love song to them, giving a lap dance? Whoa! The teacher must have been pissed off at him. And the girls, obviously very, very uncomfortable. Even if there was a boy sitting there, he would have felt very uncomfortable. It sounds very uncomfortable in itself. Crazy. Insane amount of vulgarity in his behavior from years and years. And then the girl continued with other story.
He was also really touchy, like, with girls. I cannot tell you a single girl that I went to middle school with that was not uncomfortable around him, because he was always like, feeling you some other way.
No, no, no. Who does that stuff in the school or anywhere? And why has he not changed after all these years? Touching and grabbing is literally asking if the girl is uncomfortable. So it looks like Nova's character was always shady and dirty. It actually sounds very, very traumatizing. Nobody would really want to be friends with him. And the comments read, "Honorable mention, he was banned from the adult store my sister used to work at." And another girl has come up with another story saying, "That's so weird, OMG, it's crazy that we all went to school with him. He was obsessed with me and Ari and always asked us to marry him." And Katsy replies with, "Yes, OMG, I remember that. Were you there for the Love Me Like You Do thing?" I can't remember, but I think I remember Ari being one of the girls he sang to. He went to my online school during high school and asked me to virtual prom, and I graduated standing right next to him. And as a boy mimicking his food reviews.
Hey Nova Cadre, today we're going to be trying the Theater Bros Salsa. First impressions are decent. It looks pretty goopy, kind of like the sits I take in my diaper.
So, as we can clearly see, Nova has created a serious and dangerous wave online, one that's being followed by thousands. Whether people watch him out of curiosity, hate, or just to laugh, the harsh reality is that he's pulling in millions of views on nearly every single video. And what's truly alarming is that the numbers don't drop. Because just when people think Nova Online, aka Gabriel Gage, has finally reached his peak, he goes and peaks the peak. And now comes the climax of the chaos he's been building. The peak of the Novine universe is this.
If you want to really see my feet, I'm launching an OF soon.
Yes, you heard that right. Nova has officially declared that he's starting an OnlyFans account. We all know what OnlyFans is widely known for. Despite being a platform meant for creators of all kinds, it's now overwhelmingly associated with content, private chats, and adult entertainment. It has become one of the most controversial and problematic spaces on the internet. And now, Nova has decided that this is his next move. And that is deeply concerning. Let's just take a second to sum up Nova's online journey. He started with gaming videos on YouTube, but lacked the intelligence, originality, or consistency to grow an audience. He jumped over to TikTok, trying out shorter video formats. Even then, no one took him seriously. And on the rare occasion that someone offered him a real job or a platform, he was either fired or thrown out in a matter of days. Then came his attempt at trendy content. He sang, danced, copied trends, until finally, one accidental outburst about a server crashing went viral.
Oh no, not the server! The server got nuked! The server! No! I wanna die, I swear to God. And
And there goes the server.
That rage clip gained him attention, and he's been chasing that fleeting moment of viral fame ever since. From trying to sell bracelets, water bottles, to now selling himself on OnlyFans, Nova has gone from irrelevant to controversial, to now just plain unsafe. Let's talk about why this is not just embarrassing, but dangerous, for himself and for others. Emotional and psychological damage from platforms like OnlyFans. People often assume OnlyFans is an easy source of income, but what's rarely spoken about are the mental and emotional consequences of engaging in such spaces. Over time, it leads to severe body image issues, stemming from constant comparison, objectification, and unrealistic beauty standards. Addiction to validation. Every like, every subscriber becomes a hit of dopamine. You start relying on strangers to tell you you're worth something. Emotional burnout, because constantly creating provocative or shocking content leaves no space for genuine rest or healing. Increased anxiety and isolation, as people start seeing you only as content, not as a person. You start selling parts of yourself, and when those parts are no longer interesting, the audience disappears, and you're left with nothing but shame, confusion, and mental exhaustion. So even if Nova managed to make some money out of this, the damage to his mind and soul will far outweigh the paycheck. Now, who do you think we should blame here in this situation? Nova for doing all this, but he is mentally ill. Let's start with the top. His parents. If only Nova's parents had shown a little more sensibility while raising him, he might have turned out to be a better person. If not extraordinary, then at least a functioning, respectful adult. Bad parenting doesn't always show up as shouting or pressuring kids into perfect grades or achievements that society applauds. Sometimes bad parenting is simply not being present enough, and sometimes it's worse. It's noticing your child's spiral and still choosing silence over confrontation. Today, in our fast-moving digital world, parents are often so consumed by their own routines, careers, and digital lives that they forget their children need time, attention, and understanding just as much as they need food and shelter. Having a child is not a minor milestone, it's a life-altering responsibility. And if you can't handle that, you don't get to complain about the consequences later, because those consequences don't just stay within four walls, they spill onto society, onto the internet, onto other people's lives. Raising a child is like nurturing a plant. A plant doesn't just need water and sunlight, it needs healthy soil to anchor its roots. If the soil is loose, the plant will sway, struggle, and eventually collapse. On the other hand, overwatering a plant can rot it from the inside out. And that's exactly what happens when you smother a child with praise, excuses, and zero boundaries. They grow up entitled, directionless, and emotionally unstable. They stop understanding the concept of effort, of respect, of consequences. Good parenting is about striking the right balance. It's about giving your child the space to grow independently, develop their own thoughts and opinions, and stand on their own when the time is right. It also means holding them accountable when they cross the line, teaching them the consequences of their actions, not sweeping everything under the rug in the name of love. If you constantly celebrate everything your child does without questioning right from wrong, you're not nurturing self-esteem. You're breeding arrogance. You're creating an adult who refuses to listen, refuses to grow, and worse, refuses to respect others. And that's where Nova Online, aka Gabriel Gage, comes in. He is what happens when that balance is completely missing. Nova's behavior on the internet is far from entertaining. It's unsettling. His manner of speaking to the camera is erratic. He often shifts from quiet, uncomfortable stares to abrupt emotional outbursts, diving into anxiety-fueled rants and depressive monologues. Sometimes he talks about needing someone to care for him, even changes diapers, things no adult should randomly scream into the void of the internet. His tone jumps unpredictably from sadness to aggression to self-pity, with zero filter, all while maintaining the illusion that this is normal or acceptable content.
I tell you, I had two of the weirdest obsessions in the world.
But it's not. There is nothing relatable about turning your unresolved trauma into performance art. There is nothing funny about using mental illness as a brand strategy. The most troubling part is that he's doing all of this publicly, with millions of viewers, including young, impressionable audiences watching his every move. He's not just embarrassing himself, he's potentially harming those who don't understand the depth of what they're witnessing. Emotional instability, untreated trauma, and boundaryless self-expression don't belong on a public platform without caution or accountability. And here's the hard truth. This didn't start yesterday. Nova's present condition is a culmination of years of unchecked behavior, lack of guidance, and an environment that clearly never taught him where the line is. When a child grows up without discipline and without direction, the world eventually becomes their playground, and everyone else becomes collateral damage. His parents may not have screamed, but they clearly failed in the areas that mattered most. They didn't step in when he needed a reality check. They didn't help him learn empathy or restraint. They didn't teach him how to coexist in a world that doesn't revolve around his emotions. This is a wake-up call, not just about Nova, but about the long-term impact of absence disguised as freedom and overindulgence disguised as love. This is not a case of a quirky influencer gone rogue. This is the crash landing of a neglected boy who was never taught how to land at all. People have started feeling visibly uncomfortable around Nova in public spaces. Usually, when an influencer walks by, there's a sense of excitement in the air. People light up, they rush for selfies, ask for autographs, maybe even strike up a quick conversation about their content. That's the usual fan moment. But with someone like Nova online, the energy is completely different. Instead of admiration, there's tension. Instead of smiles, there are sideways glances and awkward silences. Even though many people know him, some even follow him out of curiosity, they also know what he's allegedly been doing behind the scenes. His disturbing interactions with minors on Discord are not some hidden secret anymore. They're a quiet, looming concern. So, when people spot him in public, there are only two reactions. Either they feel uncomfortable and uneasy, or they simply couldn't care less. There's no awe, no respect, no sense of stardom, just avoidance. And here's an example that captures that shift perfectly. Someone quite literally made fun of him by filming a video, or perhaps giving an interview, with Nova awkwardly standing in the background. Not as a guest, not as a star, but as an unintended prop in someone else's joke. That's how far the fall has gone, from wanting to be the main character to becoming the punchline. And people have also come up with some weird edits of Nova falling for minors. And here is another video by a random girl about Nova online and his Discord chats.
Ew! Every day I'm forced to learn something new about him that I don't want to!
Here's a Discord chat of Nova online with someone named Program Dash. Yeah, taken out of context, how you wanted to sleep in VC with a 14-year-old? Asked a 14-year-old how often she... To which Nova online has replied with, they were being towards me. And then the program questions back with, and you was being it back? To which Nova online has replied with, they did it more. The ongoing concerns. Surrounding Nova online, Gabriel Gage. A call for awareness and accountability. There is an alarming pattern of behavior surrounding Gabriel Gage, better known on social media as Nova Online, that must be brought to light. Not to defame, but to inform, protect, and encourage responsible digital conduct. One of the most disturbing revelations involves conversations between Nova and minors. In one incident, a user named Program directly questioned Nova about being with a 14-year-old. Nova's response, that the minor was being more towards him, is deeply troubling. It is crucial to understand that minors cannot consent to such interactions. The responsibility always lies with the adult. Legally and ethically, this behavior clearly falls into predatory territory. What's often described as involves an adult creating a relationship with someone younger in order to gain influence or control. It usually starts subtly and can escalate into deeply harmful situations. And no matter how the interaction begins, the responsibility always rests with the adult. Over time, more young women, including some who reportedly knew Nova from school, have come forward with accounts of feeling uncomfortable, unsafe, or manipulated during their interactions with him. While these stories are important, they represent only the visible part of a larger issue. Many victims do not come forward due to shame, fear, or trauma, and perhaps even more concerning are the cases where minors may not realize they are being, or worse, may begin to normalize the behavior as part of their developing sense of in relationships. This creates a dangerous environment. Teenagers, especially those navigating emotional vulnerabilities, are highly impressionable. Exposure to inappropriate adult behavior online can lead to lasting psychological damage, ranging from trust issues and depression to unhealthy future relationships and identity struggles. Adding to the concern is Nova's activity on platforms like Discord, where private chats can create opportunities for unmonitored interactions. Reports suggest that some of these connections may have been extended through content-sharing platforms, including subscription-based sites. While those sites prohibit younger users by policy, Critics have raised concerns that some creators use mainstream social media and messaging apps to direct audiences toward more suggestive material, whether intentionally or indirectly. Using platforms like OnlyFans as an extension of communication with fans becomes even more troubling when those fans include minors. The emotional damage from being exposed to adult content or interactions at a young age is significant. It can lead to confusion about personal boundaries, distorted views on relationships, and long-term psychological impact. In light of these concerns, it is imperative that Nova Online be investigated thoroughly by appropriate legal authorities, banned from platforms that facilitate unmonitored interactions with minors, especially Discord, and placed under digital observation to prevent further harm. This is not just about holding one individual accountable. It is about protecting vulnerable users online, educating communities about behavior, and ensuring that our digital platforms are safe spaces for everyone, especially children and teens, because we cannot imagine our future generations destroying their lives. We want no more Novas in the world. Legal repercussions of engaging in interactions with minors. Interactions between adults and minors are not just morally wrong. They are criminal offenses with serious legal consequences. Across most jurisdictions globally, engaging in any form of suggestive conversation or interaction with a minor is considered exploitation. This includes texting, image sharing, and even suggestive role-playing with anyone under the age of legal consent, which typically ranges between 16 and 18 years depending on the region. One of the most dangerous tactics predators use is many countries, including the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and India, now have specific laws that criminalize even if no physical meeting ever takes place. The mere intent to coerce or influence a child into behavior even over the internet can lead to imprisonment, inclusion in a offender registry, heavy fines, and restrictions on internet use. Further platforms such as Discord, Instagram, YouTube, and OnlyFans legally require creators and users to comply with local child protection laws. If a creator is found guilty of breaching these laws, not only can their accounts be terminated, but the platforms themselves can initiate legal reporting or cooperate with law enforcement agencies during investigations. In situations where younger individuals are pressured into harmful choices, like sharing private material, engaging in dangerous behaviors, or developing distorted views about relationships, the adult responsible can face serious legal consequences. Depending on the severity, this may include charges related to endangerment, corruption of a minor, or even more severe offenses in extreme cases. This is why there must be no tolerance for individuals like Nova Online, who are repeatedly alleged to have blurred these lines. Regardless of whether his intentions were joking or misunderstood, when minors are involved, the law does not offer the benefit of doubt. Legal systems are designed to prioritize the safety and innocence of children, and anyone found tampering with that should face strict consequences to protect the public at large. Audience engagement and closing message. So what do you think about Nova Online? Do you really believe he is adding value to our online world, or is he slowly poisoning it with his inappropriate behavior and twisted influence over young minds? Ask yourself if we really want to continue giving such individuals space views and followers when they actively exploit their platform and manipulate the youth. What would you do if you came across Nova in real life? Would you shake his hand or walk away? Would you question him about the things he has done? Or would you feel the need to protect those around you from him? More importantly, what actions do you believe the authorities should take? Should Nova be banned from social media for good? Should his access to platforms like Discord be permanently revoked? Should he be investigated thoroughly for every allegation and interaction with minors, especially the ones surfacing from his past schoolmates and current fanbase? These are not just opinions anymore. They are serious questions for the safety of our online communities. People like Nova Online are not just problematic influencers. They are a serious threat to impressionable minds. By normalizing disturbing behavior, joking about serious issues like mental health, and pushing boundaries with underage users, they are not just spreading bad influence. They are shaping a generation's view of what is acceptable and what is not. And before we wrap up, if you like this video and believe in spreading awareness, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your engagement helps us continue bringing forward such important content. Together we can build an internet that is safe, conscious, and free from toxic individuals who misuse their platforms.